For the past decade, a successful study program called A Biblical Walk Through the Mass has guided people through the biblical roots of the liturgy. Now, to celebrate a decade of success, a 10th anniversary edition has been released with all new content and videos. I spoke with author and theologian Dr. Edward Sri about how understanding our biblical roots can enrich our faith.
Yeah, so many Catholics, they just go through the motions, right? I mean, I've done that before. I show up, I make the sign of the cross, I stand, I kneel, I say thanks be to God and with your spirit. So I know when to stand and say the right words, but I feel I don't know what it's all about. I think if we can understand the beauty of what we're saying and doing in the liturgy, we can get more out of Mass. You probably hear that a lot. People say, I wish I could just get more out of Mass. And I think that's true, but I'll get more the more I can give to Mass. And all the prayers, all the rituals, all the symbols from the liturgy come from the scriptures. And if we knew the biblical background, then we'll really appreciate all that's happening in the liturgy.
Absolutely. And so what can we do to help Catholics understand really the healing gift of the Eucharist?
Oh, the Eucharist isn't just a symbol. It's not just a reminder of Jesus. It is Jesus's very body, blood, soul, and divinity. He's the God of love. That's what the scriptures tell us. God is love. And the God who loves us, the God who is love, loves us so much that, love wants to be near the one it loves. And so he came down, became one of us in Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago, but he wants to remain with us. Emmanuel, God is with us. And so he's so desiring to be close to us. He remains present with us in the gift of himself in the Eucharist. So the bread and wine at the consecration, every Mass is changed into Jesus's very body and blood. It's no longer bread. It looks like bread, tastes like bread, but underneath those outward appearances, it's Jesus, love himself. And he's there at all of your churches right now. And he's there every time we go to Mass. He's there when we receive him in Holy Communion. That's how much he wants to be at one with us. And so I think about how that same Jesus that walked around Galilee 2,000 years ago and was going around healing people, comforting them in their afflictions, giving them guidance and encouragement when they needed consolation in life. Like that same Jesus is wanting to work miracles in our lives today. And he's right there in our own towns, our own little cities, and in all the churches and all the tabernacles. And I think if Jesus was coming to your town to work a miracle, you would drop everything. You'd leave work and go see him. And yet we take for granted the gift of the Eucharist. Let's stop by and visit him, be close to him, because he wants to work a change in our hearts. He wants to help us grow in love and trust and holiness. And he wants to heal us of our hurts and our wounds and comfort us in our afflictions today. And that's the great gift of that same Jesus from 2,000 years ago is present to us so closely in the Eucharist.
So we have a little bit more time left. Tell us what's new about the 10th anniversary edition. What can we expect and why did you release it now?
Well, 10 years since we had the new Mass translation, if you remember, and we're used to that now. And it was just a great time to kind of put out a new edition of the book. So I went through really in chapter by chapter, paragraph by paragraph, and kind of wrote it in the way I write today. So people used to my books can kind of connect with it. But we also added new sections, to it. We added a new introduction to explain more of the beauty of the Mass itself. We got into different parts of the Mass that weren't in the original one. So I think it's a great time. I think especially in light of the kind of crisis that we're facing, not just in the culture in the world, but even a crisis of faith that many Catholics, is like over 67% of Catholics don't believe in the real presence of the Eucharist. This is a timely moment where we need to pray for an outpouring of Eucharistic faith, Eucharistic love. And I hope that this can be a resource to help ordinary Catholics understand that which is, most important to us as Catholics, the Mass that we encounter every Sunday and all throughout our lives.
Right. I think that's great. Wonderful. And, I think it is a perfect time for this because so many people stopped going to Mass, during the pandemic because we were allowed to.
Right.
And then, I think a lot of them are like, well, I was allowed to then. Why do I have to come back now? So I think this is, your message is a good one for people today.
A big thank you to author and theologian Dr. Edward Sri. If you'd like to check out the 10th anniversary edition of A Biblical Walk Through the Mass, just go to ascensionpress.com. If you're watching Currents News on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell to get updates to all of our newest content, because we are putting your faith in the news.